Hi, welcome back to the next installment of Z-fari, the video book on YouTube. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. I hope you enjoy what you're hearing. If you do, you can go to Amazon.com and purchase the paperback or the ebook, whichever you choose. I would recommend both of them and coming back to listen. But anyway, we're going to read the second part of the 8th chapter where things get more interesting. If you're ready, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Sergeant Earhart needed to find a new aide. Trooper Esterhazy had left Saturday afternoon, and Corporal DeBigny got into town a little later in the day. Emily met the corporal at the bus station, and then treated her to dinner at a little place with red and white checked tablecloths. Thick steaks, little cups of sherbet between the courses to cleanse their palates, and very good liquor. Emily and Julie had a wonderful meal, a good talk, and had to lean on each other to make it out the door after 2 bottles of the red they drank. They caught a cab to Emily's home, and Julie slept in the spare bedroom. Somehow, she woke up at 5 a.m., got into her best drill instructor's uniform, and had whole wheat toast and Earl Grey for breakfast. Emily woke up at 6, changed her pink fluffy bunny slippers for a pair of comfy loafers, but stayed in her pink and black Batman flannel jammy bottoms and camo Walking Dead t-shirt, and drove Julie to the barracks at 7. When Sergeant Earhart got home, she took a leisurely shower, steamy hot, washed her hair, combed it out and blew it dry until she could work with it, dressed for work, and made herself a bowl of oatmeal. Unless the shit hit the fan, and with zombies there was always a chance that it would, this week should be nice and peaceful, she thought. She hopped into her little car and drove the 5 miles to the station. She walked into her office at the stroke of 9. Now to get down to business. First, Sergeant Earhart had to find a new aide. Trooper Esterhazy was reliable but never took the initiative. She needed someone who could learn the routine well enough to anticipate her and deflect some of the mindless details that interfered with her actually commanding her troopers. If she was going to be the Green Hornet of the Border Patrol, she would need to find her Cato. Unfortunately, finding a new person to work with required that she read personnel files. She booted up her computer and got to work. After 4 hours of mind-numbing reading and rereading probably 50 files, Earhart had narrowed her search down to 5. Troopers Raymond Hayashi, Roland Parker, Mickey Tolan, Britt Reed, and Paul Carnegie. Before joining the patrol, Hayashi had been a mechanic and a professional driver. Parker had been a career soldier with 20 years in the Army and 5 as a mercenary in a variety of police actions and small wars all over the globe. Tolan somehow had no record of anything. Date of birth, education, job history references in his file. Reed had been raised by his father, a gentleman's gentleman with impeccable organizational and communication skills, solid business acumen, and efficient administrative and accounting abilities, who taught his son everything that he knew on a country estate in England. He was fluent reading, writing, speaking in English, his first language, French, Spanish, and Italian. Reed was also an accomplished inventor, the holder of 5 patents, 2 related to mechanical engineering and 3 related to handheld weapons. Carnegie was a career border patrolman, taking a break from the platforms doing desk duty at the station. He was eager to return to killing zombies. She would only have Carnegie for a limited time, but he knew the patrol and how it worked. She crossed Parker off the list first. He was a soldier, a man who needed to be part of the action. A desk job would drive him crazy. She decided to call Tolan in for an interview just to see what she could get out of him. Hayashi should probably be in the motor pool rather than on a platform. She would make a call to make that happen. Carnegie would be worth interviewing, but if she chose him, he would request a transfer within a year, she thought. Okay, down to 3. Carnegie was just down the hall. She called him on the phone. Yes, he would be interested. He had nothing really important to do until the afternoon. He would be happy to walk right down and talk to her. There was a knock at the door. "Come in," she said. Paul Carnegie walked in. He was 35 years old, and it showed in the scars on his hands and a nose that had been broken and healed before it had been properly reset. He wore his hair high and tight, but Sergeant Earhart could see the gray at his temples, the receding hairline, and the bald spot on the top of his head. His light blue eyes were as riveting as the powerful muscles in his forearms. "Sit down, please, Trooper Carnegie." "Thank you, ma'am," he said. They talked for about an hour. She learned that killing zombies was a holy crusade for the trooper. He had seen the zombies kill his wife, his 90-year-old mother, his teenage son, and his adored little 4-year-old daughter. He shot them until his shotgun and his rifle and his pistol were empty. He hacked at them with his axe until the handle broke. He had escaped with one thought filling his being: kill those zombie bastards. Trooper Carnegie had stopped talking for a while after he had told her this. He cried soundlessly, his big, powerful shoulders shaking with sobs. When he was able to speak again, she asked him questions that let him talk about the patrol, how it worked, his place in it, and what he thought it needed. Paul Carnegie was smart, dedicated, and intuitive, but not creative or spontaneous. He would be a valuable addition to Earhart's team. Sergeant Earhart thanked Trooper Carnegie. He rose, smiled, saluted, and then offered her his hand. "I'd be proud to work for you, ma'am," he told her. And then he turned and left. Earhart called Mickey Tolan next. It was his day off, but he said that he would be happy to see her at 1. Emily made a note on her calendar to remind herself in case something came up. Then she called Trooper Reed. It was his day off, and he was taking a cooking class until 1 at a shishi little restaurant in a converted brick warehouse in Old Town. He told her that he could see her around 4. She told him that that would be fine. Sergeant Earhart knew that the men and women on the platforms were under a great deal of stress, and she knew that one of the best ways that she could show them her support and help them to strictly follow the rules and regulations of the patrol was to drop in on platforms unannounced. She was responsible for about 50 platforms from Belle Plaine in the south to Park City in the north. Once she had found her new aide, she would work with him to schedule surprise inspections on all of her platforms. Sergeant Earhart had done a good morning's work and decided to treat herself to lunch with a beer. Barbecue! That would be just about right. She got up from her desk, walked out toward the station's front door, told the guard just inside the door that she would be back in an hour, and opened the door into a glorious sunny noon. She smiled as the sun warmed her face.